Compared to Guillaume and Smoker who have found a clue to Lin Wuya, the others are more tragic at this moment. I saw that, somewhere in the sea area in the first half of the Grand Line, many disciples such as Redhead, Rayleigh, Monkey D. Dorag, Marco and others were standing on the boat with a look of fatigue. In the past few days, in order to catch up with Lin Wuya, they all rushed all night and didn't even sleep. As a result, after chasing for several days, they didn't even see Lin Wuya's shadow, which made them feel uncomfortable. At this moment, all of them are tired, their eyelids can't close. That's tired. Looking at the white sea in front of them, they said inwardly. Teacher, where are you? Gaia Island. 8 o'clock the next day. Lin Wuya and Robin walked out of Kurigai's residence. Let's go. Old sir. Kurigai smiled at Lin Wuya. Good. Lin Wuya nodded, and immediately left with Robin and Kurigai and came to the coast. Lin Wuya took Robin aboard the boat, as for Kurigai boarded his own boat. The two ships set off from the coast and headed to the southern waters. After sailing for about 3 nautical miles, the two ships stopped. Old gentleman, this is it. Kurigai looked at the sea area under his body, and confirmed that it was a place where the ocean currents soared. This was standing on his boat and shouting to Lin Wuya. Is it here? Lin Wuya nodded. Then wait here. After waiting for nearly an hour, a tremor was transmitted to Lin Wuya's perception. Coming to the side of the ship, Lin Wuya took a look and found that the sea nearby had started to rotate slowly, just like a precursor to the vortex. Kurakata saw it too, and immediately yelled to Lin Wuya. Old sir. The sky and ocean currents are coming soon. Wait, you have to hurry up. Yeah. Lin Wuya nodded, looking at the circling sea below him, a faint smile appeared in his eyes. Is it finally coming? Soaring to the sky. At sea level, the seawater rotates more and more violently, and finally a rapid vortex is formed. The ship Lin Wuya and Robin were in was also rapidly spinning along the vortex. At a certain moment, when the vortex reached a maximum value, the bottom of the sea was suddenly silent, and then a thick water column directly soared into the sky, and even the boat with Lin Wuya and Robin rushed into the sky together. The boat was rushed into the sky. Lin Wuya felt okay, but Robin's pretty face changed slightly, and Robin was a little uncomfortable with the feeling of rushing into the sky. Old sir. I will send you here to help you successfully log into Sky Island. If you successfully board Sky Island, remember to ring the lamp of Shandora. Kurigai's shout came from below. Must. Lin Wuya responded loudly to Kurigai who was standing on the boat below, and then looked at the unstable Robin. Hurry up. Robin. While Lin Wuya and Robin were rising along the ocean current, a warship appeared nearby at this moment. This army is riding Guillaume and Smoker. After learning from the pirate's mouth that the teacher had appeared in Demon Valley Town on Gaia Island, the two of them rushed here overnight. However, just as they were preparing to dock, a soaring ocean current appeared right in front of their warship. Although it didn't affect them, it still shocked the two of them. And on this soaring ocean current, they also saw the shadow of a ship. Out of curiosity, they turned their gazes towards the ship that followed the sky-high current. At a certain moment, when a familiar face appeared in their sight, Smoker and Guillaume's faces became stiff at the same time, and then they exclaimed. F*K. The teacher is in heaven. After exclaiming, the faces of the two were instantly shrouded in ecstasy. Is teacher. It really is a teacher. The teacher is really here. Smoker and Guillaume wanted to shout, but when they thought there were many marine soldiers behind them, they didn't do it. After all, the teacher is now being rewarded heavily by their marine, and they are still offering a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys. If the two of them are the teacher's disciples, it will inevitably not arouse the suspicion of the headquarter. But the ecstasy in the eyes of the two did not hide the slightest. Finally met the teacher. They were very happy even if it was just a figure from the back. Guillaume grabbed Smoker's sleeves excitedly. Smoker. Have you seen it? Teacher. Teacher is on it. Guillaume, who has always shown coldness, is happily like a child at this moment. I saw it. Smoker nodded, but his eyes were fixed on the teacher ascending the ocean current. In the past few days and night, I finally saw the teacher. But what is the teacher? What are you going to do? Go down the sky and flow to the sky. Smoker said curiously. Haha. Who knows? The teacher's behavior has always been peculiar. Maybe something has happened to heaven this time. Or the teacher wants to experience the feeling of heaven. Guillaume smiled. I say this because Lin Wuya did a lot of strange things on the island. For example, go to the sea alone and shirtless to hunt sea kings. are standing on an island in heavy rain and suffering lightning strikes. It is always something that others dare not do. Compared with the things that the teacher did on the island in the past, Jiayuan feels that God is not that strange. Haha. What you said too, Smoker laughed. By the way, Smoker, since the teacher has gone to heaven, he will definitely come down. Do you think we are waiting here or? Gion asked Smoker. Smoker looked at Lin Wuya from the sky, smiled and shook his head and said, no need. Just see the teacher. Besides, I also thought about it on the way here. The reason why the teacher didn't contact us was definitely because he wanted to be alone. First take a look at the outside world of Wawa. If we pester the teacher, we may disturb the teacher's interest. Yeah. What you said too. Jiyuan nodded, and immediately said to Smoker. Then are we going directly back to the headquarters now? Smoker laughed. Look at it for a while, wait until the teacher completely disappears from sight, and then go back to this department. Good. Jiyuan nodded, then looked up into the air. On the sturdy soaring current, the ship flew quickly, like a soaring eagle galloping into the air. Feeling the feeling of being carried into the sky by the ocean current, Lin Wuya smiled faintly. Speaking of which, in the past 50 years, he has experienced many things. Catch sea kings in the deep sea alone, sit on the top of the mountain and experience the feeling of being hit by lightning, and have also galloped through the forest in the stormy weather. It even leveled the mountain with a pair of fists, but I didn't enjoy the feeling of flying into the sky. But compared to Lin Wuya, Robin looked quite uncomfortable at the moment, perhaps because of his daughter's body, or perhaps because of the lack of oxygen due to the rising speed of the ship. Robin's chest was blocked. Can you hold on to it? Lin Wuya noticed Robin's strangeness, and immediately asked with a smile. It's okay. Teacher, I can hold on to this little setback of. Robin opened his mouth. Just stick to it. Seeing Robin said that he could persevere, Lin Wuya didn't say much, and turned to look up at the sky. The next moment, a huge pirate appeared in Lin Wuya's field of vision. This Sea King's is huge, measuring 40 to 50 meters long. It should have been swept into the air by the soaring ocean current, but now it has fallen. Teacher. One of the Sea Kings fell off. Robin's face changed, and he said hurriedly. Don't worry. Just leave it to your teacher. Robin responded, and Lin Wuya directly volleyed with one hand. Suddenly, the descending body of Sea Kings stopped directly. Immediately after Lin Wuya shook his hand gently, the stopped Sea Kings was thrown away from the top of the ship in the shape of an arc. The teacher is amazing. Robin exclaimed that such a big teacher Sea Kings stopped it at will, and also changed its falling trajectory. He has seen the strength of the teacher. Without Sea King's blockade, the ship proceeded more smoothly. However, this smoothness did not last long, and there was a problem. That is the ship itself. It is actually beginning to gradually break away from the soaring ocean current. This is the tendency to be thrown away. Teacher. The ship is about to fly out. A good teacher is here. Brush. When the gravity fruit is launched, Lin Wuya directly gives the ship a force of gravity to press against the skyward ocean current. Suddenly, the boat that was about to be thrown out began to gradually conform to the current, and finally returned to its original trajectory. Huh. Scared me to death. Seeing that the ship had returned to its original trajectory, Robin was immediately relieved. Teacher. This fruit ability is really strong. Robin secretly said in his heart. Can kill people and control ships. Don't be too strong. Robin, hurry up. I'm going to enter Cumulus Cloud later. At this time, Lin Wuya's voice sounded. Hearing this, Robin will subconsciously hold on tightly, and at the same time raise his head to look at the sky. I could see the shadow of the cloud faintly, and it was still very close. Not as far away as before. Brush, brush. The ship continued to rise under the impact of the ocean current, and then rushed into the clouds with a brush. At this moment, Robin only felt that his breathing was hard. But this feeling was only a moment, and disappeared in the next moment. When she opened her eyes, everything in front of her made her eyes bright. What appeared in front of her was an endless white cloud, and the ship was suspended above these white clouds. Are these all clouds? Robin looked around and murmured. Yes. Lin Wuya nodded and said, we are now in the middle of Cumulus Cloud, and we are still some distance away from Sky Island. Then how do we get to Sky Island? Robin asked curiously. I'll talk about this problem later. Before that, I still have to solve the current trouble. Lin Wuya said lightly. The trouble right now? Robin frowned. Just about to say something, the huge octopus-like sea monster suddenly came out of the clouds. What is this? Sea Kings. Robin was taken aback. Are there creatures in the cloud? Yes. Lin Wuya smiled and nodded. There are many creatures living in this cloud. This Sea Kings is just one of them. Look. Another one appeared ahead. Following the gaze of Lin Wuya's fingers, Robin saw another Sea Kings leaping out of the clouds. And this was just the beginning. Gradually, Robin kept seeing some Sea Kings emerging from the clouds. Robin counted them, and there were a total of 14 Sea Kings, and these Sea Kings were quite large. The shortest one was more than 30 meters, and the largest one was even hundreds of meters high. This is too amazing. Robin was surprised, but soon Robin became a little uncomfortable. Because these Sea Kings all rushed towards them. This is to attack them. Robin, go ahead and solve it. At this time, Lin Wuya's voice sounded from his ears. Robin nodded, and then he walked to the side of the ship, crossed his hands in front of him. 100 flowers dazzling endless finger pistol. In an instant, countless jade hands appeared around Robin, and then turned into finger pistol, blasting towards the Sea Kings that rushed like a rain of bullets. Boom. 1, 2, 3. But for a few breaths, those Sea Kings were slaughtered. Teacher. It's solved. After these pirates were dealt with, Robin secretly breathed a sigh of relief. However, Lin Wuya's next sentence made Robin frown again. This is just the first trouble, the first one. A trace of doubt flashed in Robin's eyes. Brush. At this moment, a rapid breaking wind sounded. Robin looked towards the sky above the clouds, and saw a beast like a cow rushing towards here, and on the back of the beast, Robin also saw the shadow of a person. And above this person, Robin also saw a bird, and there was also a person standing on it. This is. Robin's eyes narrowed. They are guerrilla soldiers in this area, specializing in hunting people who land on the island. Lin Wuya revealed the identities of these people. It turned out to be like this. Robin nodded, and then stood up again. Teacher. I'll come this time. Okay. Lin Wuya nodded, and then surrendered these two people to Robin. Robin now is no longer the little girl who followed him back then, and far surpasses the past in terms of strength and deeds. These two guerrilla soldiers may be good, but in Lin Wuya's view, Robin's is still enough to deal with easily. Standing on the side of the ship, Robin put his hands in front of him again. In the next instant, countless jade hands condensed in front of Robin again. These jade hands were in the shape of finger pistol, and they violently attacked the two people in the air and on the ground. Huh. The two men gave a stunned sound, and then directly raised the weapon in their hands and tried to block them. But how can the power of finger pistol be so easy to block? In addition, Robin's finger pistol is not a normal finger pistol, but the finger pistol activated by the flower fruit. That power is even more powerful. Bang. Puff. Even if it was these guerrilla soldiers' master, Zinzuna, which was observation hockey, couldn't avoid it for a while. Ah. Ah. Only two screams were heard, and then the two fell off their mounts. Go. He glanced at Robin in horror, and then the two of them ran away. Teacher? Do you want to chase? Looking at the two running away, Lin Wuya asked immediately. It's just some little ones, there is no need to chase after them. Lin Wuya said lightly. Yeah. Robin nodded, and then gave up the idea of chasing. After running away two guerrilla soldiers, Lin Wuya was ready to drive the boat to find the gate to enter Sky Island. However, in the next instant, his brow furrowed. Who? One-handed grip. Suddenly, a huge force of gravity enveloped a place in the air, and Lin Wuya slammed directly. Brush. A figure wearing armor fell directly from the air and hit the deck. Ah. It hurts. Robin's gaze also fell on this figure, and a flash of cold killing intent flashed in his gaze. Are you also a guerrilla soldier? No, no, not the old man. The man waved his hand again and then stood up. As he stood up, Lin Wuya and Robin could see each other's looks clearly. Jing is an old man. Although he is wearing armor outside, he can still vaguely tell from his looks that the opponent is not young, he should be more than 60. The old man stood up. The old man is the Sky Knight Gonforay. He is a free mercenary of this generation. Mercenary. What is this? Robin frowned and heard about this profession for the first time. The old man who claimed to be Gonforay explained. The simple point of the mercenary is that it is a profession that can do things for you as long as you pay. This generation is a dangerous ocean. Once someone from outside enters here, they will suffer. The sniper of guerrilla soldiers. So we often haunt here to help those people, and collect some compensation by the way. This is what our mercenaries do. After a pause, Gonforay continued. I just didn't expect you to be so strong. so you easily smashed 2 guerrilla soldiers. After speaking, he looked at Lin Wuya and Robin again. You are also from Qinghai, right? Qinghai. Robin frowned. Qinghai is the ocean below Sky Island, and the people here will become Qinghai. Gonfor explained. In this case, then we are from Qinghai. Robin nodded. You guys are also taking risks, right? Gonfor continued to ask. No. We are here to find someone. Robin shook his head. Gonfor laughed. I've come to Sky Island to find someone. This is the first time I have seen you, so let's do it. I think the two are kind. I will take you to the entrance of Sky Island for free. Then thank you, old man. Robin thanked. As for Lin Wuya, he was standing by the side all the time. The reason he didn't ask like Robin did, so he knew everything here, and he also knew that what the old man named Gonfor said was true. Led by the Sky Knight Ganfor, the ship marched to a huge white waterfall. Said it is a white waterfall, it is actually a cloud. What a big Yunchuan waterfall. Robin looked up and said in surprise. Everyone who comes to this place has the same expression as you when they see this waterfall. Gonfor smiled, and immediately said, the entrance of Sky Island is under the Yunchuan waterfall, you can just go directly. I wish you a happy adventure. After saying this, Gonfor left directly on his mount. Following Gonfu's instructions, Lin Wuya and Robin soon arrived at the entrance of Sky Island. The star-shaped door appeared in front of the two. The 4 characters, Gate of Heaven, are written on the gate. Is this the entrance to Sky Island? It's even more spectacular than imagined. Looking at the magnificent door in front of him, Robin couldn't help but said. After saying this, he looked at Lin Wuya again. Teacher, does Brother Enel live here? Yes. Lin Wuya smiled and nodded. At this time, a man came out of the Gate of Heaven. To be precise, it should be an old woman with a pair of wings on her back. Are you going to enter Sky Island? The old woman asked. Yeah. Robin nodded. You need to pay 1 billion Aegis coins to enter Sky Island. The old woman said. 1 billion Aegis coins? Robin frowned. What kind of coin is Aegis? Is it a coin dedicated to Sky Island? But they don't. If not, can you enter? Robin only asked this subconsciously, but the old woman's answer was a surprise for her. Nothing is okay. Really? Yeah. The old woman nodded, and then said, so are you going in? Yeah. Robin nodded. Okay. I get it. After the old woman said this, a huge lobster sea monster came directly out of the clouds, and then clamped the boat with 2 tongs, and then dragged the boat directly along the Yunchuan waterfall and rushed out. Leaving the Gate of Heaven and on the way to Sky Island, Robin couldn't help but said, that person was so strange just now. It was said that 1 billion Aegis coins would be charged to enter Sky Island, but I asked her if she could enter without money. She said, it's okay to say it. After speaking, Robin looked at Lin Wuya. Teacher, what are you saying about this? For this, the more Robin thought about it, the more he didn't understand. Since they can go in without paying, why do they need to ask them about the cost of entering Sky Island? Lin Wuya smiled and said, that's because if you enter without paying, it is considered illegal entry. Illegal entry? Robin's face changed. Do you still bring this? This is Sky Island. Lin Wuya chuckled. If nothing else, we are now wanted. For all this, Lin Wuya had already expected it, because the Straw Hat Pirates entered Sky Island in the original work. If you are wanted, it will be a little troublesome. Robin couldn't help but said, although she and the teacher's strength would not affect even being wanted, but in this way, it would be a little difficult to find senior brother Enel. No trouble. Lin Wuya smiled and said, on the contrary, if you are wanted, it will be easier to find you brother Enel. Why do you say that? Robin was puzzled. Because the person wanted for us is your brother Enel's person. No. Robin's pretty face was startled. This senior brother Enel has such a high status in Sky Island? Just about to say something, the moving speed of the lobster sea monster suddenly became much faster. Robin looked up at the sky, and then a huge cloud hole appeared in her vision. Immediately she gave a stunned cry. Huh. This is. Above that cloud cave is Sky Island, Lin Wuya said. Is it up there? Hearing that, there was a touch of excitement in Robin's eyes. The rumors about Sky Island used to be seen only in history books. Will you see it now? Pulled by the giant lobster, the boat continued to rise along the Yunchuan waterfall, and then passed through the Yundong with a whistling sound. With the help of the upswing force, the ship surpassed directly, and then anchored in a sea of clouds. When the ship was completely stabilized, Robin stood up, and then she looked around in a circle. Looking around, she was stunned. Presenting before her eyes was a completely different scene from what she had seen on Cumulus Cloud before. Foreshore, dense forest, castle, bridge. Looking into the distance is like a fairyland on Earth. Is this Sky Island? It's so beautiful, Robin exclaimed. In the past, while studying history and seeing rumors about Sky Island, Robin had also constructed Sky Island in his mind, but he did not expect it to be such a place like a fairyland on Earth. This is so beautiful. The boat docked on the shore, and Lin Wuya and Robin got off the boat. Not long after getting off the boat, a young girl came over behind her, with a pair of white wings growing behind her. Are you from Qinghai? The girl walked up to Lin Wuya and Robin and asked with a friendly smile. Yes. Robin nodded, then looked up and down at the beautiful girl in front of him, and then asked in confusion, Are you? The girl introduced herself. My name is Kanish, I am a resident of Angel Beach. Angel Beach? Does it mean this? Robin asked subconsciously. Yes. Kanish smiled and nodded. It's not just me, there are other residents here. As soon as Kanish's words fell, there was a gallop on the clouds. Robin turned around, even when he saw something similar to a motorcycle driving towards here. There is an old man standing on it. While driving the same vehicle is a motorcycle under his feet, which is Sky Island's unique, Weiba. He shouted towards here. Kanish, are there people from Qinghai here again? Yes. Father. Kanish nodded at the old man, her father. Okay. I'll come here. Kanisi's father grinned, and then drove the Weiba close to the coast, but the driving skills did not seem to be very good. On the tree. Father. Are you okay? Seeing that his father had overturned the car again, Kanish walked over immediately. It's okay. I'm used to it. It seems that my old bone is still not suitable for driving the powerful. The old man is Kanish's father. His name is Paiga. After getting up from the ground, he came to Lin Wuya and Robin and said kindly. Didn't hurt you? No. Lin Wuya smiled and shook his head, and then glanced at the old man and said, It's you. You hit it like this, are you okay? Paiga waved his hand. It's okay. I'm used to falling. After that, he looked at Lin Wuya and Robin again. You people from Qinghai who came to our Sky Island are considered guests here. I will take you to my house and sit down. By the way, I will also tell you about the situation of Sky Island. After all, some places in Sky Island are taboo places, and people are not allowed to enter. Good. Lin Wuya was originally going to go to Enel directly, but seeing Paiga's enthusiasm, he also accepted the other party's invitation. Come with me. Old sir. Paiga smiled slightly, and then walked towards his home with Lin Wuya and Robin. 5 minutes later, Lin Wuya and Robin came to a room. The layout of the house is not big, but the location is very good. From here, you can have a view of the entire Angel Beach. This is my home. Paiga smiled slightly, and then led Lin Wuya and Robin into the boat at home. At this time, in another place on Sky Island. In an office, a middle-aged man with wings on his back and a hat with the word "we" connected to a phone call. Then his expression changed and he said, I know, he must be arrested. After speaking, I hung up. Walking out of the office, he shouted at the soldiers outside. Everyone gather and head to Angel Beach. Yes, sir. Brush. Between Sumi, dozens of soldiers gathered together, and then headed straight to Angel Beach under the leadership of this man. The residents on the roadside frowned as they watched this scene. Captain Ma Jianli actually assembled so many soldiers from the White Beret unit to Angel Beach. Is this what happened? Lin Wuya didn't know what happened outside. At this moment, he was sitting at Paiga's house, and he heard Paiga talk about some things about Sky Island. When referring to the forbidden place, Paiga's tone became a little lower, as if he was very taboo about this place. He said to Lin Wuya, the Holy Land is right next to this island, no one is allowed to step in there anyway. Even if you are very strong, don't enter there. Are there any big people living there? Robin asked curiously. Generally speaking, there are dangers in the forbidden places, or there are some big people living in them. Yes. Paiga nodded and said, there is the kingdom of gods, the place where the almighty god Enel rules. Enel? Robin's face was startled. Isn't Enel the name of the brother they are looking for on this trip? Could it be that the god Enel mentioned by this old man is the brother? When this thought appeared in Robin's mind, Robin was stunned. Is brother Enel so awesome? He was regarded as a god by the people of Sky Island. The strength of the god Enel is very strong, and there are 4 god-tier officers under him. In the past, all those who stepped into the Holy Land were killed by the god Enel with the ruling of the god. So even if you are curious about it, never step into that place. After Paiga finished speaking, He thought that the old gentleman would have listened, but he laughed. This may not work. Old man, because we came to Sky Island on this trip to find a person, and that person lives in this absolutely forbidden holy place that you said. Lin Wuya wants to come to their Sky Island to find someone. Paiga also learned about this during the previous chat with Lin Wuya. But he did not expect that the person the old gentleman was looking for would actually live in the Holy Land. The Holy Land is the place where God lives. Similarly, just because he knew that the old man was panicked in his heart, he immediately persuaded, "Old man, even if the person you are looking for is in the Holy Land, you must never enter there. You must know that in the past, all those who entered where the god Enel was killed. If you go in, it will be a life of 9 deaths. Lin Wuya smiled and said, "Don't worry, I have a sense of measure." Lin Wuya knows what this old man is worried about. It is estimated that he feels that if he enters, he will definitely be killed by the god Enel. But as everyone knows, the god Enel he said is his disciple. Lin Wuya did not directly tell Paiga Ya that the person he was looking for was Enel, who was regarded as a god, and he also considered Enel's status in Sky Island. If Paiga knew that he was looking for Enel, then he would probably be frightened. Paigia is very anxious at the moment. Why doesn't this old gentleman listen? Must go to the Holy Land. Is it even more important to find someone than your own life is in danger? Wanting to continue to persuade, at this moment, a burst of dense footsteps suddenly rang from outside. What's the matter? Paigia frowned, then stood up from the sofa and looked out of the room. Not far away, a group of soldiers was coming here quickly. The leader was a middle-aged man with a hat. This man, Paiga, also knew him. He was Captain Ma Legion of the White Beret Unit. What did Captain Ma Legion bring to Angel Beach with a white beret? Paigia frowned, and then walked out of the house. Lin Wuya and Robin also went out together. Did something happen, Captain Ma Legion? Paigia walked over and asked. The surveillance officer Amazon of the Gate of Heaven just sent a message saying that there are 2 illegal immigrants, an old man and a young woman. We are here to arrest them, Ma Legion said solemnly. An old man and a young woman. Hearing this, Paigia's face changed, and then turned to look at Lin Wuya and Robin. Could it be that Captain Ma Legion said that the illegal entry was the old gentleman and his disciple? Ma Legion also noticed Lin Wuya and Robin, and his eyes were suddenly startled. Old man, woman, he shouted, come here, arrest them. Following Ma Legion's order, the soldiers of the White Beret troops behind him rushed out directly. Paigia stepped forward to stop these people, and said to Ma Legion, Captain Ma Legion, are you misunderstanding, old gentleman, they are not illegal immigrants? Wrong? Then you ask if they entered the country illegally. Ma Legion said solemnly. Hearing that, Paiga struggled a bit, and finally walked up to Lin Wuya and asked. Old sir. Didn't you ask for the entry fee when you entered the Gate of Heaven? This is really not there. The old lady said that she can come in without paying the entry fee, so we just came in. Lin Wuya said lightly. What? Paiga's face changed. I really didn't pay. Ma Legion snorted coldly. I didn't lie to you. They just entered the country illegally. After that, he glanced at the soldier in the White Beret unit who had been stopped by Pagoya before. Go. Catch these 2 illegal immigrants. Yes, Captain Ma Legion. The soldiers yelled, and immediately rushed up. Robin saw the Sky Island soldiers rushing towards them and turned to look at Lin Wuya. Teacher. Do you want me to take action? No need. Lin Wuya smiled faintly, and then walked straight over, facing these soldiers and Captain Ma Legion. Are you sure you want to capture us? Captain Ma Legion said coldly, of course, you 2 entered the country illegally, so naturally you will be arrested. Lin Wuya smiled and said, we entered the country illegally, yes, but you can't catch it. What a big tone. I want to see what strength you have to dare to say such things. Ma Legion looked angry, and immediately waved his big hand. Give me all. Wa Luo, those soldiers directly surrounded the group by Lin Wuya and Robin, full of bows and arrows, and aimed at Lin Wuya and Robin. Let's release the arrow. Hearing that, those soldiers are directly the bowstrings in Yisong's hands. Brush. 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 Countless arrows shot from those soldiers' bows to Lin Wuya and Robin. Feeling the arrows shot from all directions, Lin Wuya chuckled softly, bows and arrows can't catch us. When the voice fell, a majestic gravitational force spread around Lin Wuya as the center, flooding these soldiers and their bows and arrows like a tide. What happened next made Ma Legion's face change. Those bows and arrows fired and the soldiers hit the ground with a bang. Boom. The majestic gravity swept, spreading towards the surrounding like a tide. Under the influence of gravity, the bows and arrows fired by the White Beret troops and the soldiers of the White Beret troops directly hit the ground with a bang. Boom. 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 As if the sandbag fell on the ground, the sound shouldn't be too pleasing. This scene fell in the eyes of Paiga, and suddenly made him grow his mouth. All these soldiers fell down in an instant. Raising his head, Paiga looked at the circle of people who maintained a calm color from beginning to end. Lin Wuya. Could it be that this old gentleman did it? Shocked. But more is unbelievable. This old gentleman is too strong. 40 or 50 soldiers of the White Beret troops were solved in an instant. What shocked him most was that he didn't see this old gentleman take action during the whole process, and these soldiers actually fell. Behind Pagia, Konis covered her red lips with her little hands, and her beautiful eyes were also full of shock. In just an instant, so many soldiers were solved. He had only seen this method from God Enel. What happened? At this moment, Ma Lijian's face was full of horror. Obviously this old guy didn't make a move. Why all the soldiers fell, and it didn't matter if the soldiers fell, why even all the bows and arrows fired fell to the ground. This is totally unreasonable. In his cognition, unless the arrow is blocked, it is impossible to stop in the middle. But why didn't this old guy make a move? How could he let all these arrows fall to the ground? Who is this guy? Ma Lijian was scared. He originally thought that Lin Wuya was just an ordinary old gentleman, who would have thought that it was such a powerful existence. Just standing there is to solve 40 or 50 soldiers. This method may not be able to do it even with the 4 god-tier officers under the god Enel. Step on. At this time, Lin Wuya moved, and he walked towards Ma Lijian step by step. When he saw Lin Wuya walking towards him, Ma Lijian suddenly panicked, and he kept backing away. What are you going to do? I am a god Enel person. What if you dare to treat me? God Enel as I won't let you go. Kill you. Lin Wuya smiled. You are too high on yourself. A guy like you is not even qualified to let me shoot. Go back and tell your boss, Enel, that you want to catch me and let him come over in person. You will regret what you said today. According to this sentence, Ma Lijian fled here. After Ma Lijian left, Paiga came over, and he said to Lin Wuya, Old sir, you leave here soon. God Enel is not something you can provoke. I know you are very strong, but God Enel is stronger than you. His strength is not what you can realize. Listen to me. Leave Sky Island now. I have to say that this Paiga has a really good heart. Persuade Lin Wuya to leave Sky Island immediately. Don't worry. Even if Enel comes, it's impossible to treat me like that. Maybe he will kneel in front of me and call me a teacher. Lin Wuya smiled at Pei Jia. He knew that Paiga was worried about his life, but that Enel, who was enshrined as a god, was his disciple. Old sir. What nonsense are you talking about? God, if Enel comes, it's not bad not to kill you, and call your teacher. Paiga was a little speechless by Lin Wuya's remarks. This old gentleman actually said such nonsensical remarks. I'm not talking nonsense. If that guy comes, he will really call my teacher. Lin Wuya smiled. Paiga became angry. Forget it. I won't persuade you. You can't go if you don't. Anyway, don't blame me if you lose your life at that time. After saying this, Paiga went straight back to the house, and it was obviously outrageous to see that. Looking at the frustrated Paiga, Lin Wuya smiled and shook his head. At this moment, Robin walked over and asked Lin Wuya, Teacher, are we going to the Holy Land next or? Not going anymore. Lin Wuya chuckled. If it's no surprise, that guy has already gone to Enel's place just now, so let's just wait here. Good. Robin nodded. When he reached the beach, Lin Wuya lay down on the beach chair, while Robin stood beside Lin Wuya. The 2 masters and apprentices waited here quietly. In the house, Kanish looked at Lin Wuya who was lying on the chair, and turned to look at Paiga who was sitting on the sofa. Father. We really don't persuade you anymore. Don't persuade me. I will be mad at persuading me. Whether life or death depends on the fate of the old gentleman, said Paiga. Okay. Kanish sighed. Holy Land. The palace of the gods. In the high position is a young man. The man was naked to the upper body, showing strong muscles, with a white headscarf tied to his head, long earlobes extending to his chest, and behind him were 4 drums carved with 3 go jade. He is the god whom the residents of Sky Island enshrine as a god Enel. Standing on both sides of Enel are his 4 proud subordinates, which are the 4 god-tier officers in the eyes of Sky Island people. At this moment, Enel was leaning over to look at a middle-aged man who was kneeling in the hall. This middle-aged is the non-commissioned officer Ma Legion who led the soldiers to arrest before. That old guy really told you that? Want to catch him and let me go personally? Enel looked down at Ma Legion, his face slightly gloomy. Yes, yes. That's what the old guy said. Ma Legion nodded repeatedly. Hearing that, Enel's mouth was twitched with a sneer. It's interesting. Gedosh, one of the 4 god-tier officials, looked at Enel. Enel, shall we go there? Enel sneered. That old thing said so, can I not go as a god? And I really want to see what kind of old guy dares to say such things. Brush. The figure disappeared from the throne. In the next instant, Enel appeared directly in the center of the 4 god-tier officials, his eyes cast to the high horsepower kneeling on the ground. Take me over. Yes. Yes. Ma Legion stood up tremblingly, and then led Enel and the 4 god-tier officers to the Angel Beach where Lin Wuya was. 10. Sky Island. Angel Beach. It seems that because waiting is a bit boring, Lin Wuya directly played Weeba on the sea. As for Robin, because of curiosity, he also joined it. At the moment, the teachers and students are having fun there. This scene happened to be seen by Konas sitting in a daze in front of the windowsill, and her jaw dropped in shock. God Enel is coming. The old gentleman and Miss Robin actually have a leisurely and elegant play with the powerful. This heart is made of iron. Father, father, look at that old gentleman and Miss Robin. As if he wanted his father to watch this scene too, Kanish yelled to Paiga who was sitting on the sofa. When Paiga heard what Kanish said, his face was instantly pleased. Could it be that the old mister left? Standing up from the sofa, he came to the windowsill and then glanced outside. At the next moment, his eyes were all round. In the clouds, Lin Wuya was having fun riding Weeba, showing off his skills to Robin while driving. I am he. Pagia felt that his outlook on life had been impacted. Play webmaster? Still playing Weeba at this time? Paigaya discovered that he shouldn't have persuaded this old gentleman before. The old man's mentality is really strong, Kanish said so. Is this powerful? This is stupid. Paiga was speechless for a while. But then again, father, this old gentleman said he came to Sky Island to find someone, and that person still lives in the Holy Land. Who do you think it will be? The Holy Land has always been the place where the god Enel ruled, and the people living there are also the god Enel and the 4 god-tier officials and one of their cadres. If the person the old man is looking for is in the Holy Land, doesn't it mean that it is one of them? I don't know this either. Pagia shook his head. In his impression, the people in the Holy Land seemed to have no contact with the people in Qinghai, and he did not remember anyone in the Holy Land who had been to Qinghai. So he didn't know that someone in the Holy Land would have something to do with this old gentleman. Boom. At this time, a thunder and lightning sounded from my ears. Pagia raised his head and looked at the end of Angel Beach. After seeing the strong thunder and lightning, his face suddenly changed. No. God Enel is here. It seems that Lin Wuya and Robin still don't want Lin Wuya and Robin to be ruled by God Enel. After seeing God Enel appear, Paiga directly opened the door and rushed out. When he came to Angel Beach, he shouted at Lin Wuya who was riding a mighty in the clouds. Old sir. God Enel is here, you go. It's really too late if you don't leave. Hearing Paiga's call, Lin Wuya stopped, and then he looked at the dense forest at the end of the Angel Coast. Seeing and hearing colors spread out and moved towards the dense forest. After sensing Enel's trail, the corner of his mouth suddenly pulled a radian. Sure enough. Turning around, Lin Wuya turned towards Robin who was riding the Power Master behind him. Robin. Go ashore. Your brother is here. Good. Robin nodded, he couldn't help feeling excited, he was finally about to see this brother Enel. Riding Weeba, Robin and Lin Wuya returned to the shore together. Seeing Lin Wuya and Robin returning to the shore, Paiga ran to the two of them and said anxiously, Old sir, just listen to my old man. God Enel is really powerful, even you it can't be dealt with at all. Don't worry. He won't do anything to me. Lin Wuya smiled faintly, then turned and looked at the end of Angel Beach. At this time, several figures also appeared there. At the head was a man with a white turban, naked torso, and 4 drums made of 3-hook jade on his back. Although it was far away and couldn't see the other person's face clearly, Lin Wuya recognized the person at a glance by virtue of that outfit. It's not his evil Enel. There is a reason to say that Enel is an evildoer, because Enel's temperament is quite bad. If it weren't for the mandatory requirements of the system, he really didn't want to accept Enel as an evildoer. During the first few years on the island, Enel caused him trouble. And when going down the mountain, it was not Enel who actively asked to go down the mountain, but Lin Wuya kicked it down. Lin Wuya kicked Enel back to Sky Island. That's right. Just kick back. It may sound exaggerated, but Enel is indeed Sky Island kicked back by Lin Wuya. Paiga also noticed Enel, who had appeared on the shore of the Angel's Coast, and his face changed immediately. It's over. It's too late. God Enel is here. And not only God Enel, he also found the shadow of 4 God-tier officials. God Enel plus 4 God-tier officers. Even if this old gentleman has the ability to reach the sky, it is impossible to escape. After Enel came to Angel Beach, he also looked over here. But looking at it this way, his brow furrowed. That person is so familiar. Like his teacher in Qinghai. It should be my illusion. Enel felt that he was wrong. After all, the teacher is in Qinghai, and this is Sky Island, which is tens of thousands of meters apart from Qinghai. Even if the teacher goes down the mountain, it should not be possible to appear on Sky Island. Well, it's definitely an illusion. Thinking like this in his mind, Enel immediately moved on with the 4 God-tier officers. And as the distance gets closer to Enel's brows are frowning tighter. No one. Because he feels that the person is like a teacher more and more. It's not that he can see his looks clearly, but his temperament, almost exactly the same as the teacher. With this kind of doubt, Enel came closer, and as he got closer and closer, Lin Wuya's appearance was gradually seen by Enel. At a certain moment, when the smiling face appeared in Enel's field of vision, Enel directly stopped. And that face that had always been deceived at this moment was also shrouded in deep horror. Those big piercing eyes gradually spit out. Then there was a roar. Old teacher. Old teacher. Enel's horrified voice spread from the shore of angels. In an instant, the entire angel coast was completely silent. The breeze blows, blowing up the clouds in the sea of clouds. But on the coast the 4 God-tier officers of Enel, Ma Legion who came with Enel, and Paiga and Konus who were standing behind Lin Wuya at the moment. The 7 of them were directly stunned at this moment. The breeze blew their faces and shook their hair, but it was still unable to take away the amazed expressions on their faces. They just heard something from the mouth of God Enel. Teacher? God Enel's teacher? Dignified Enel actually called someone else's teacher? The 7 dull-eyed people carefully patrolled the surroundings, and finally their gazes fell on one person. This person is Lin Wuya. Suddenly, a thought that shocked them all appeared in their minds. Could it be that this old gentleman is the teacher of God Enel? Among them, the most shocking is undoubtedly Paiga and Konus. God is Enel a disciple of this old gentleman? At this time, Paiga's mind thought of what Lin Wuya had said before. Don't worry. Even if Enel comes, it's impossible to treat me like that. Maybe he will kneel in front of me and call me a teacher. At the time he thought the old gentleman was talking nonsense, so he didn't care. But now, he was stunned. Thinking of the old gentleman saying that the person he was looking for was in the Holy Land, coupled with Enel's direct frightened teacher. Could it be said that the man this old gentleman is looking for is God Enel? And God Enel is still a disciple of this old gentleman. Buzz. When this thought appeared in Paiga's mind, his brain buzzed. He really didn't want this old gentleman to die. But also he was a little unbelievable Enel turned out to be the disciple of this old man. After all, that is God Enel. The residents of Sky Island are regarded as beings of gods, and they don't dare to look at the existences. Such a person turned out to be a disciple of this old gentleman. He was stunned. Besides, Enel's 4 God-tier officers, the expressions on their faces are also no better than Paiga, and even more shocked than Paiga to some extent. Enel even called that old guy as a teacher. It's a lie. But if one of the people present has a more exaggerated expression, it is undoubtedly Enel. At this moment, his face was full of horror, and a pair of eyeballs popped out. If you want to use a picture to describe Enel's expression at this moment. Yeah. It's almost the same as Enel's expression when he sees his thunder and lightning does not work on Luffy in the original book. That's the look of a ghost. Old teacher. Enel was still screaming, and the expression on his face became more and more exaggerated. As for Lin Wuya's expression is still the same as before, with a smile on his face, but it is this smile that makes Enel even more scared. In Lin Wuya's eyes, Enel is a villain. But in Enel's eyes, Lin Wuya is not a devilish teacher. Even after so many years, Enel can clearly remember the years he had been on the island. It was really a life like hell. Being constantly devastated by the teacher every day and night. Continuously attack his body with armed colors, and increase his physical strength in the name. The use of knowledge and color to continuously attack him is also a good way to improve his knowledge and color. Even at night, while sleeping. In his sleep, he was awakened by his teacher using conquerors. At that time he roared and said, "I don't have conquerors, why are you shocking me with conquerors?" In the end, how did the teacher answer? Using conquerors to shock you is to increase your awareness of danger at night. At that moment, Enel's mentality collapsed. The next day I proposed to go down the mountain. But the result? No, you must stay on the mountain before completing the practice. In desperation, Enel can only stay on the mountain. After all, he can't beat the teacher. During this period, Enel also tried to escape, but the tragedy was that every time he escaped, he was caught by the teacher. Enel remembered that once, he had escaped from the island, even to a place 10 nautical miles away from the island. But as a result, when he turned around with excitement and wanted to escape again, he saw the teacher's shadow on the face. At that time, his whole person was reluctant to force him. Can the teacher catch up from such a distance? Needless to say, the scene after that, he was blown by a hammer by his teacher. After being beaten with a blue nose and swollen face, he was carried back to the mountain like a chicken. Since then, Enel no longer had the idea of running away, and stayed on the mountain honestly to complete the training set by the teacher. It's not that he doesn't want to run away, but that he doesn't dare. Because every time he escaped, the teacher would beat him violently. He was afraid of being beaten, so he didn't dare to continue to escape. However, what Enel didn't expect was that after only 3 months, the teacher let him go down the mountain. And it was not an ordinary descent, but kicked him off the mountain with a single kick. Enel still remembers the teacher's terrifying kick. His pelvic bone was kicked off by that foot, and he was kicked back to Sky Island by the teacher. You heard me right. It was kicked back to Sky Island. Also, because of that foot, he rested in bed for 3 months. Even if he was not lying on the bed, he did not dare to sit down, because when he sat down, there was a piercing pain. Since then, Enel has vowed never to go to Qinghai again, and no longer goes to the edge of Sky Island to sleep alone. If he falls again and meets the teacher, then he really has nowhere to cry. What Enel didn't expect was that if he didn't go to Qinghai, the teacher would come to Sky Island. Him. Enel's whole person is broken. How did this old guy get here? This place is located at an altitude of 10,000 meters in Qinghai. This old guy is here after all? The air was directly frozen at this moment, and Enel's heart was still collapsing. He can't figure it out, nor can he understand it. How did this old guy come here? After all, this is the Sky Island, which is located at an altitude of 10,000 meters in Qinghai. Does this mean that you can come up when you come up? Of course, there is also a way to get to Sky Island from Qinghai. That is, with the help of Qinghai's soaring ocean current, you can reach Sky Island by virtue of the soaring ocean current. But that thing, even if you look at the whole Qinghai, there are very few people who know it. This old guy has been staying on the mountain. How did he know that he could get here by skyrocketing ocean currents? Enel. Is he really your teacher? Shira, one of the 4 god-tier officials, asked Enel. As soon as he said this, the other 3 priests also looked at the god, Enel. They want to hear Enel say no. After all, Enel is the god of their Sky Island, the supreme existence. However, the reality was destined to disappoint them, and Enel nodded heavily. Yeah. 4th, the god-tier officer was shocked. Isn't it? That old guy is really Enel's teacher. Enel. When did you have such a teacher in Qinghai? How come we don't know at all? Shira, one of the 4 god-tier officials, continued to ask Enel. They have lived with Enel since they were young, and logically speaking, if Enel has a teacher, they should know. But the reality is that they know nothing. That was a long time ago. Enel recalled. One day I slept on the edge of Sky Island, accidentally fell off Sky Island, and fell on an isolated island in Qinghai. I was seriously injured. Just when I thought I was about to die, an old man appeared and saved me. I thought that I, a god of Sky Island, can't know the rewards of Entuo, so I asked the old man if he had any wishes. The old man said that he had no desires, so he wanted to accept a disciple. So in order to repay his life-saving grace, I became his disciple, that is, the person you met. Enel told these past events. Could it be the years when you disappeared on Sky Island? Shira asked subconsciously. Yes. Enel nodded. But Enel, in theory, he is your teacher. You should be happy to meet him. Why are you so afraid? Shira continued to ask. Until now, Shira still clearly remembered Enel's expression just now, and the whole person was terrified to the extreme, as if he had seen a ghost. Even more fearful than this, he was very puzzled about this. Shouldn't the disciples be happy when they see the teacher? Why is Enel not like this? Enel was a little scared and said, You don't know how terrible the days on the mountain were. It was really a life like hell. Until now, I still have a shadow in my heart, and you should remember that after I came back, I recuperated for 3 months. Something. Remember. Shira nodded, and then asked in amazement, could it be that your teacher did it? Yes. Enel nodded. After I finished my studies, the teacher kicked me back to Sky Island. It was because of that kick that I lay in bed for 3 months. Shira and the other 3 priests were stunned. Enel lay down for 3 months because of his teacher's foot? No. But in contrast, what shocked them even more was what Enel said before. Kicked Enel back to Sky Island. You know that Sky Island is close to 10,000 meters from Qinghai. At such a high altitude, Enel was kicked back. What a terrifying footwork is needed to do this. At least they can't imagine. Is your teacher so scary? Shira swallowed subconsciously due to drooling. Who knows that Enel shook his head. Terror. That's all underestimated. In my heart, the teacher is synonymous with the devil, even more terrifying than the devil. When the 4 god-tier officials asked Enel, on the other side, Paiga also asked Lin Wuya. Old sir. God Enel is really your disciple? After he asked this, Kanish also looked at Lin Wuya. Yeah. In the shocked eyes of the two, Lin Wuya nodded. When Paiga and Kanish heard this, both of them were stunned. God Enel turned out to be a disciple of this old gentleman. Awesome. Pagia slapped his lips, and Kanish was also shocked. The god of their Sky Island, God Enel, actually has a teacher in Qinghai. Unlike Paiga and Kanish, Robin is looking at her brother Enel curiously at this moment. The long ones are very masculine, but why are these ears so long? It looks like 2 erasers, and there are 4 big drums on his back. What kind of look is this? But compared to these, what made him more curious was that brother Enel saw the teacher's expression. Why wasn't she as excited as she was when she first met the teacher? On the contrary, I am very afraid. Out of curiosity, Robin asked Lin Wuya, Teacher. How do I feel that brother Enel seems to be afraid of you? Afraid? Are you there? Yes. When I just saw you, brother Enel seemed to have seen a ghost. Robin said so. I don't know this too well. Lin Wuya said without knowing. If Enel hears this, I am afraid that a mouthful of old blood will come out. What did you guys do to me on the island? You don't know. Without going to talk to Robin again, Lin Wuya turned to look at Enel not far away, and smiled lightly. Why? Not happy to see the teacher. Hearing that, Enel's face changed and he rushed to Lin Wuya's face. The expression of horror turned into a pleasing expression by the way. He smiled at Lin Wuya and said, Where is it, teacher? How can I be upset when you come? How happy I am. While talking, Enel also deliberately split his mouth and smiled. It's just that he was seen by the 4 god-tier officials, Paiga and Kanish. Suddenly his mouth grew in surprise. Is this still the god they usually see Enel? Standing in front of Lin Wuya, Enel did not have the attitude of being high above the Sky Island people in the past. At this moment, his face was pleasing to the eye. That's right. Just to please. It seems that Lin Wuya is an extremely terrifying existence in his eyes. Naturally, this point was also seen by the 4 god-tier officers, who immediately opened his mouth in shock. No matter when and where they are high above Enel, even the native Sky Island people, Enel never put them in his eyes. However, facing his teacher, Enel actually showed such a pleased look. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they even wondered if the man in front of them was the god in their hearts Enel. Similarly, Paiga and Kanish are also quite shocked. In their hearts, Enel is a god, and it is also the existence that makes the Sky Island people fear. But at the moment, there is no such thing as a god in the god they are jealous of, just like a little brother. This really refreshed their 3 views. Does God Enel also have this side? Is he also scared? However, Lin Wuya was not moved by Enel showing such a pleasing gesture. He looked at Enel with interest. I heard that you were going to arrest me? You want to initiate a judgment against me? Hearing Lin Wuya's words, Enel's face suddenly changed too, and his face became even worse. Where? How dare I arrest you, teacher? Even if you give me 100 courage, I dare not do this kind of thing. Really? Lin Wuya smiled and said, But I told your men that I wanted to arrest me and let you come in person. You came in a blink of an eye, and brought your hands down. Didn't you arrest me? Did you come to ride like me? Domineering? Enel's face changed, and he didn't know how to explain it, but when he heard the words Lin Wuya said, he suddenly smiled. The teacher is the teacher. You are right, I am here to ride the Power Master, not to hide it from you. Say, I really like to ride this thing. If I don't ride it 100 times on weekdays, I feel uncomfortable in my heart. It seemed that Lin Wuya would not believe it. He directly found a mighty on the coast of angels and rode it. Teacher, what do you think of my riding? While riding, Enel also showed off to Lin Wuya. This scene was watched by the 4 god-tier officials, Paiga and Kanish, their mouths opened wider. FCK. God Enel rides mighty. Am I fake? They clearly remember that when the god Enel first saw Weeba, that kind of disdainful expression, and said that this kind of thing is only used by ordinary people, and our gods disdain to use this kind of thing. But now, Enel, who looked down on Weeba at the beginning, and even regarded Weeba as trash, actually rode Weeba in public, and it was because of the old gentleman's words. They naturally heard that the old man was teasing Enel. But Enel really did. This really blinded their titanium dog eyes. They once again exclaimed in their hearts, is this really the god who is jealous of their Sky Island people? Besides Robin, although he did not act as shocked as the 4 god-tier officials and Paiga and Kanish, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. This brother Enel is a bit weird. After riding Weeba for a lap in Yunhai, Enel returned to the shore and said to Lin Wuya, Teacher, how do you think I am riding? However, he had just finished speaking, and a cold voice rang in his ears. Kneel down. Puff. Enel directly knelt down with his legs. The 4 god-tier officials, Paiga and Konishi who watched this scene were even more shocked. Damn it. God is kneeling. Do you know why I let you kneel down? Lin Wuya looked at Enel and said coldly, Yes, I know. I shouldn't have people come to arrest you, teacher. I also brought people here. At this time, Enel didn't dare to argue anymore, and truthfully admitted his mistake. What else? Lin Wuya spoke again. Enel repeatedly said, I shouldn't have asked the teacher to wait so long to see you. What else? Lin Wuya's voice rang for the 3rd time. Enel thought hard, but couldn't think of anything else, so he raised his head and said to the teacher, Teacher, what else is there? It seems that you don't know. Then I will remind you as a teacher. Lin Wuya's face became cold, and then he said to the 4 god-tier officials, Bring the whip. Whip, whip? 4th, the face of the god-tier official changed. Is the teacher Enel going to smoke Enel? The 4 of them looked at Enel, but what they got was Enel's roar. What are you doing in a daze? Take a whip. Enel knew what the teacher wanted to do with the whip, but he did not dare to confront the teacher. He knew that once he did it, his fate would be worse than now. He was on the island at the beginning, because he was dissatisfied with Lin Wuya's punishment, and he was hanged and beaten by Lin Wuya for 3 days and 3 nights. The 4 god-tier officers were startled by Enel's sudden roar, and then hurriedly handed out the long whip he carried to Lin Wuya. After receiving the long whip, Lin Wuya directly slapped Enel violently. And it was not an ordinary whipping. Lin Wuya also covered armament hockey on the whip. After this whip went down, Enel's face was black, and there was also a red whip on his body. When going down the mountain, I once told you that after you go out, don't be superior, and be humble, but in the end you became the god of Sky Island and established a holy place that no one is allowed to enter. This is the 3rd reason why the teacher made you kneel down. Pop. The sound fell, another whip. When you were on the mountain, as a teacher, you raised your observation hockey to the point where you can predict the future. You didn't even know when you came to Sky Island as a teacher. This is the 4th reason why the teacher made you kneel down. Pop. After speaking, it was another whip. This is the 3rd whip. When the whip fell, Lin Wuya's voice sounded again. The 5th reason is that you actually rode the mighty master as a teacher. Don't you know that this mighty master rode as a master? The first 2 points mentioned by Lin Wuya are acceptable to the 4 god-tier officials. But the 3rd point is to let them blow their tongues for a while. Riding your mighty but also getting flogged? Your temperament is too strong. However, Enel did not dare to say anything. He knelt there and nodded repeatedly. Teacher, what you preached is, I shouldn't be the god of Sky Island, shouldn't have not sensed your existence, let alone ride the teacher. The mighty you rode. Looking at the Enel who repeatedly admitted his mistakes, the 4 god-tier officials were directly dumbfounded at this moment. In those days on the mountain, what exactly did Enel experience? He was so afraid of him as a teacher. Besides, Lin Wuya drew Enel 3 whips in a row. In addition, Enel had a good attitude of admitting his mistakes, and his anger was also relieved. He threw the long whip to the 4 god-tier officers, and then said to the Enel who was kneeling on the ground, for the sake of your acknowledgement of the mistake, I won't punish you for the time being as a teacher, let's get up. Thank you teacher. That in Enel's heart was called excitement. In the eyes of others, Lin Wuya drew him for these reasons, and it may be harsh for him to kneel down, but in Enel's eyes, it is very light. Compared with the punishment given to him by the teacher on the mountain, this punishment is really pediatric, and it is not even as good as the original punishment. Standing up, Enel looked at Lin Wuya and said with a fawning expression, "Teacher, when did you go down the mountain? And I don't send anyone to notify me, so I can send someone to pick you up." "Send someone to notify you?" Lin Wuya said irritably, "If I send someone to notify you, I guess I won't even be able to see your shadow." Others don't know Enel, but he does. This kid has a very slippery character, and he was the one who taught the most in the mountains. If he knows that he has gone down the mountain, it is estimated that the gods who put Sky Island will have slipped away without doing anything, and maybe even ran directly on the moon. Enel defended. "How is it possible? If I know that the teacher is going down the mountain, I will definitely pick you up personally, and I will use the most solemn ceremony of our Sky Island to pick you up the teacher. That's it. Don't talk to me, I am your teacher and don't know you." Lin Wuya gave Enel a white look, and then he didn't get entangled in this matter, and said to Enel, "Take me to your holy place." "Good." Enel nodded heavily, and then changed to support the teacher to the Holy Land. "I'll go over and come here later," Robin said with a smile to Paiga and Konish, and then followed. After Lin Wuya and Enel left, only Paiga and Konis were left on Angel Beach. Looking at Enel, who was holding the old gentleman to the holy place with a look of innocence in the past, Paikia stayed for a while, and then said to Konis, "Konis, I am not dreaming, am I?" "I want to ask." Konish said blankly. Leaving the Angel Coast, Lin Wuya came to the Holy Land. Said it is a holy place, it is actually a forest, just the name of the holy place given by Enel. But one thing is different from other forests, that is, the trees in this forest are very tall, each one is hundreds of meters long. And it's not one, every big tree here is like that. "Teacher. The front is where I live. In the forest." Enel turned towards Lin Wuya. Lin Wuya's forehead slightly. "Right, teacher, who is she?" Enel glanced at Robin who was following Lin Wuya. Enel met Lin Wuya earlier than Robin, and Robin had not yet gone up the mountain when he went down, so Enel naturally didn't know Robin. "She's Robin. Just like you, she's also a disciple of the teacher. I met me after you went down the mountain." Lin Wuya said lightly. "Ha, it turned out to be the little junior sister." Hearing this, Enel's eyes lit up, and then he said to Robin, "Hello, little sister." "Hello brother." Robin smiled and nodded. "Right. Teacher, did you go to see other brothers after going down the mountain?" Enel asked Lin Wuya. Although Enel doesn't know Robin, he knows other people, such as Monkey D. Dorag and Jinbei. When they first met the teacher, the two of them were on the mountain. "See you." Lin Wuya nodded and said, "In addition to you, junior sister Robin, I also met two people, but they only went up the mountain after you got down, so you don't know it either." "Oh." Enel nodded clearly. All the way through the Holy Land forest, Lin Wuya came to a hall under the leadership of Enel. "Teacher. Here it is." Enel turned to Lin Wuya. "Yeah." Lin Wuya nodded, then walked into the hall. There are no people in the main hall, it is empty, but the interior space is large and the decorations are very magnificent. "It seems that your life is very moist after going down the mountain." Lin Wuya looked around and joked at Enel. "Where is it?" Enel's face changed, for fear that Lin Wuya would punish him for this, and hurriedly said, "If you don't like the teacher, I will order someone to tear it down tomorrow." Lin Wuya said faintly, "It's not necessary to demolish. Such a big palace also consumes a lot of manpower and financial resources, it is a shame to demolish." "Okay. Listen to you, teacher." Enel smiled. Then, as if thinking of something, Enel asked Lin Wuya, "Teacher, you haven't eaten during this trip." "I ate some in the morning, but now it seems to be a little hungry." "Then I order someone to arrange it." Turning around, Enel looked at his 4 god-tier officer. "Go and let people prepare meals. In addition, all the top ingredients of Sky Island are used." "Yes." The 4 nodded, then turned and left here, and began to prepare. It didn't take long for the sumptuous dishes to be brought in. "It's a big table full." Enel pulled out a chair and said to Lin Wuya, "Teacher, sit down." "Yeah." Lin Wuya nodded and sat down. Robin sat down beside Lin Wuya. "Teacher, please try this. This is a specialty of our Sky Island, marlin balls. The taste is very delicious." Enel picked up a fishball and placed it on Lin Wuya's plate. Picking up the fishball, Lin Wuya took a bite. The taste is the same as Enel said, it is really delicious, and the taste is quite delicious. Not bad. Teacher, you like it? Seeing the teacher said that it was good, Enel's face was immediately happy, and immediately continued, Teacher, this tastes good too. You can try it too. To explain, some readers here may feel that Koshiro and Buggy are both older than Enel, so why have become juniors? These seniority levels are based on the order of apprenticeship and have nothing to do with age. So everyone is entangled with this, and on the matter of apprenticeship, the little wolf did not do rigorously. Here may be a failure, everyone should not entangle this. After lunch, Enel took Lin Wuya and strolled around Sky Island, and Robin also went forward. Teacher, how long are you going to stay in Sky Island on this trip? Taking advantage of the time when Lin Wuya was visiting Sky Island, Enel asked Lin Wuya. Does Enel want Lin Wuya to leave Sky Island? That is really thinking. Although he was always smiling with Lin Wuya along the way, the ghost knew how ambitious he was. Hearing this tone, it seems that you don't want me to stay here any longer? Although Enel only asked ordinary questions, as a teacher, how could he not know Enel's careful thoughts? This kid wants him to leave Sky Island as soon as possible. Where is it? After seeing through his mind, Enel was not nervous, but instead said seriously, how can I have such a thought in? Don't say teacher you stayed too much. Even if you stayed on Sky Island for half a year or a year, teacher, I won't even say a word for a lifetime. Yes. Lin Wuya smiled faintly, and immediately said, I originally planned to leave tomorrow for my teacher. But listening to you, my teacher feels that if you leave tomorrow, you will be disappointed. So I decided to stay on Sky Island for a longer period of time. As for how long to stay, let's temporarily set it as half a year. Half a year? Enel's eyes were startled, and he wanted to slap himself in his heart. Why is he so cheap? Half a year, my goodness. If this stays, he can't be crazy. Why? I don't want the teacher to stay for so long. Lin Wuya looked at Enel and said. Hearing this, Enel immediately changed his previous face, and waved his hands again and again. No, no, how could it be, teacher? Didn't I tell you, teacher, you can stay as long as you want, and staying for half a year will naturally be fine. The words are good, and Enel's heart is called a lot of bitterness. When he thought that the teacher would stay in Sky Island for half a year, he had the heart to die. Nothing. Lin Wuya smiled faintly, and then patted Enel's greasy arm. Don't worry. Half a year will pass soon, and half a year will not take long. It only takes more than 180 days to convert into a sky. It is only 4,000 if it is converted into an hour. Many hours, very short-lived. Enel is about to cry. Teacher, don't calculate it. Following the secluded path, Lin Wuya and Robin admired the beauty of Sky Island, but Enel was not in this mood. At this moment, he even had the urge to die. The thought of the teacher staying here for the next 6 months makes his heart cold. After all, his style in the eyes of Sky Island people is not good. Although he is a god, he adopts powerful suppression. If what he did in the past is known by the teacher, then he really has nowhere to go to cry. With the teacher's style, he will definitely be punished severely. And that punishment is definitely not as simple as 3 whips at Angel Beach today, but a brutal punishment like the mountain. I'm so cheap. Why do you want to ask the teacher how long you live here? If I don't ask, the teacher might really leave tomorrow. Enel growled in his heart. After visiting Sky Island for a while, Lin Wuya returned to the Holy Land. You go to arrange 2 rooms. In addition, the environment is good, and the bedding should be comfortable. I will live here with your junior sister in the next 6 months. Yes, teacher. Enel nodded, and then ordered someone to prepare. The attitude is very good, but Enel's heart is broken. Half a year, more than 180 days, more than 4,000 hours. How can this be boiled? God, save me. No, I am a god myself. Damn, even God can't save me. After the room was ready, Lin Wuya and Robin also moved in immediately, and Lin Wuya told Enel to live here for half a year, which is not a joke, he is really going to live here for half a year. After all, this is Sky Island, no matter the environment or anything, it is much better than the following. Naturally, Lin Wuya won't leave here right away, so he has to visit the entire Sky Island and eat the delicious food of Sky Island before leaving. It's like traveling to a place. It's boring to walk when you come. You have to enjoy the scenery there and taste the local food before you go. Such a journey is interesting. Time is passing by in the flowing water, and unknowingly, it has been 3 months since Lin Wuya came to Sky Island. During these 3 months, Lin Wuya took Robin to various places in Sky Island during the day, and went back to the Holy Land of Enel to rest in the evening. It's a comfortable life. But Enel was uncomfortable. Every day, he was in a state of trepidation, for fear that Lin Wuya learned some bad things from the residents of Sky Island and punished him when he came back. Enel now only hopes that these 6 months will pass quickly so that the teacher can be sent away. In this way, he can continue to be the god of his Sky Island. In this way, time passed by Tenten in Enel's tormented waiting. Finally, half a year has passed. When this day comes, Enel is active all over. That's an excitement. I was even more excited. I finally got my head. With this excitement, Enel came to Lin Wuya, just as he had imagined. Lin Wuya is ready to leave, packing things now. But soon, Enel frowned, because he found that among the things the teacher asked him to clean up, in addition to some of the teacher and the little sister, some of his items were also. Out of curiosity, Enel walked over and asked Lin Wuya, "Teacher, did you pack the wrong things? These packages are mine." "I know it's yours, that's why it was cleaned up." Lin Wuya smiled. "What do you mean, teacher?" A bad feeling arose in Enel's heart. "Can't you see this yet? Of course it is for you to leave with your teacher." Lin Wuya turned to Enel. Hearing what Lin Wuya said, Enel froze. His face also turned black. Him. He counted the days and waited for half a year, but the teacher asked him to leave with him. Enel collapsed directly into thunder. "Brother Enel, what's wrong?" Looking at Enel, who turned into a ball of thunder and lightning, Robin's brow furrowed. "It's okay. Leave him alone," Lin Wuya said faintly, and then turned his eyes to those who were cleaning up. "Clean up your god's things. Don't miss anything?" "Yes. Yes." Standing in the hall, Lin Wuya watched these people pack their belongings. At this moment, he seemed to think of something. He turned to Robin and said, "Robin, you are here, go out for the teacher." "Good." Robin nodded. Leaving from the Holy Land, Lin Wuya came to the location of the Lamp of Shandora. "The reason why I came here is naturally because I promised Kurigite before I came to Sky Island." He had forgotten about this because he admired the beauty of Sky Island before, but now he remembers it, and naturally he has to fulfill his original promise, which can be regarded as the favor of Kurigite. And this so-called Shandora's lamp is not literally a lamp, but a huge clock of. Its appearance is similar to the bells usually ringing in some temples. The difference is that the material is different. The bell in the temple is made of bronze, while the so-called Shandora lamp of Sky Island is made of gold. It is not the kind of gilding, but it is made of pure gold. Walking to the side of Shandora's lamp, Lin Wuya covered armament hockey on his right hand, and then directly hit it with a punch. Boom. The deep voice resounded and turned into a substantial sound wave spreading towards the surroundings. Not only the entire Sky Island, this voice can be heard clearly even in Qinghai, which is 10,000 meters below Sky Island. Gaia Island. On the coast, Kurigite sat there, smoking a cigarette. After Lin Wuya rode the soaring sea into the sky, Kurigite had been sitting here, waiting for Lin Wuya to ring the lamp of Shandora. And this wait is a full half a year. For half a year, I don't know how many packets I smoked, but he hasn't heard the chime of Shandora's lamp for a long time. At the entrance of the cigarette, a puff of white smoke came out from his mouth, and Kurigite looked up to the sky. Doesn't even the old man successfully enter Sky Island? Or is Sky Island just a legend? It doesn't exist at all. Kurigite said to himself. After waiting for half a year, I haven't heard the bell of Shandora's lamp. Kurigite knows that the old man is probably already unpredictable. The reason why he continues to wait here is because he still has a hint of fantasy in his heart. Maybe there is a miracle. Maybe the old man boarded Sky Island and forgot to promise him, so he didn't ring the lamp of Shandora for a long time. However, this illusion completely dissipated after smoking the cigarette. He stood up and walked towards home with disappointment. Perhaps Sky Island doesn't exist at all. 1 step. 2 steps. Kurigite left the coast with disappointment. However, just when he reached the 6th step, a sound like an ancient hongzong suddenly resounded from the sky. Kurigite's footsteps also stopped in vain at this moment. Immediately afterwards, he suddenly turned around and looked at the sky. At this moment, the muddy eyes also rippled. Boom. In the air, the bell was still lingering. And Kurigite's body gradually trembled. This is the sound of Shandora's lamp. Sky Island really exists. The old man really boarded Sky Island. Excitement and ecstasy filled Kurigite's old face at this moment. He immediately jumped up like a child. I knew that Sky Island really existed. I knew it. Sky Island. Lin Wuya stopped ringing the bell, his armed color was disarmed, and his right hand returned to its normal color. It's so loud. Guy Curry should have heard it. Ringing the lamp of Shandora doesn't actually make much sense to Lin Wuya, because he knows that Sky Island really exists. Even if he didn't come here, he knew there was Sky Island. But Kurigai is different. Although he has heard the rumors about Sky Island and knows how to get to Sky Island, he has never seen Sky Island with his own eyes, nor has he heard the bell of Shandora's lamp. So this bell is of great significance to Kurigai. When the lamp of Shandora rang, Sky Island is no longer an illusory existence for Kurigai, but a place of real existence. The chime of the lamp of Shandora is a good proof. 10 minutes later, Lin Wuya returned to the Holy Land. Teacher, is that the bell just now? When Lin Wuya came back, Robin asked him. Yeah. The bell of Shandora's lamp. Lin Wuya nodded and said, before I came, I promised that Guy Curry would ring the lamp of Shandora if he arrives at Sky Island. Naturally, he can't break his promise. After speaking, Lin Wuya looked at the piles of packages in front of him. Is everything finished? Well, it's all done. Robin nodded. Yeah. Let's go. Shen Shang said something, and then Lin Wuya looked at Enel, who was still a ball of thunder and lightning. Don't pretend to be dead, hurry up and change back to the original way. The thunder and lightning changed for a while and turned into Enel himself. He looked at Lin Wuya with a pitiful look. Old master. Can I not but go with you? This is my hometown after all, I can't bear to leave. This kid even played the emotional card. But Lin Wuya doesn't eat this set. He looked at Enel and said, it's also a scourge to stay here. Sky Island is missing you, but it's more peaceful. So stop talking nonsense and leave with the teacher. After speaking, Lin Wuya turned and walked out of the hall. Enel had no choice but to follow. Angel Beach. Lin Wuya and Robin stood on the boat, and there was Enel. Old gentleman, are you leaving now? Don't you spend a few days at Sky Island? Pagea said to Lin Wuya, who was standing on the boat. I have stayed here for half a year. I have experienced everything that Sky Island should play and eat, so it's time to leave. Lin Wuya smiled. Then old man, you must come to Sky Island more when you have time. The door of Sky Island is always open for you. Definitely. Lin Wuya nodded, and then left Sky Island with Robin and Enel. This is the end of the Sky Island tour. This day is the day when Lin Wuya left, and it is also the day when the people of Sky Island cheer. Thanks. Take away the evil Enel. The blue sea is endless. At sea level, occasionally a few seagulls fly over, adding a bit of splendor to the sea. At this time, above the sea level, a huge octopus balloon slowly fell, and in the octopus's tentacles, the shadow of a pirate ship could be faintly seen. Suddenly, the octopus released its tentacles, and the pirate ship fell straight down vertically, and then landed on the sea with a bang. Boom. The huge waves soared into the sky, and the seagulls that brought about the huge movement were all shocked. When the ship stopped, 3 people could be seen standing on the ship. One of them was very old, his gray hair exuded an extraordinary demeanor, and he looked like an extraordinary man from a distance. The other 2 are a man and a woman, young, in their 20s. The 3 are Lin Wuya, Enel, Robin. Using the Sky Island special tool, the big octopus, the 3 masters and apprentices also successfully returned to Qinghai. I'm finally back. Standing on the deck, Robin looked at the familiar sea with a smile on his face. Although Sky Island is beautiful, it is not the place where she was born after all. In comparison, it feels much more cordial to her. Little junior sister, you are back, but I have left. Unlike Robin, Enel is now full of tears. The one who is crying is sad. Why are you so sad? Brother Enel, you have to know that a part of Sky Island was once in Qinghai, and was taken to Sky Island because of the skyrocketing ocean currents, so to a certain extent, when you come to Qinghai, you can be regarded as returning to your hometown. Robin said with a smile. Enel didn't stop because of Robin's comfort, he was still sad there alone. He stared at the sky blankly. Sky Island just left. Seeing Enel's sad look, Robin shook his head, then looked at Lin Wuya, and asked, Teacher, where are we going next? Sabodi Archipelago. Lin Wuya said the destination of the next stop. Sabodi Archipelago? Does the brother live there too? Robin asked curiously. Yeah. Lin Wuya nodded and said, your big brother lives there. Big brother. A glimmer of excitement flashed in Robin's eyes. Does the big brother live in Sabodi Archipelago? Teacher, since he is a big brother, he should be very old. Robin asked. Well, even compared to being a teacher, it's only 10 years younger. Lin Wuya said. Is it only 10 years younger than the teacher? Robin secretly calculated. The teacher is now 80 years old, 10 years younger, that is 70. The 70-year-old big brother, really want to meet. The boat started and headed to Saboti archipelago. However, before long, a pirate ship blocked the way. On the boat, a man held a reward in his hand. After some comparisons, he immediately said coldly to Lin Wuya, "Lin Wuya is it? I found you." "Teacher. What's the matter?" Robin stepped forward, looked at the pirate ship and the pirate, frowned and asked. "Who knows?" Lin Wuya shrugged, "Just ask." Standing on the boat, Lin Wuya asked the pirate, "What can I do?" "Of course it took your head," the pirate said coldly. "Take my head?" Lin Wuya was taken aback for a moment, and then smiled and shook his head. He just got off the Sky Island, and unexpectedly encountered a pirate who wanted to take the head of another person. This is no luck. Now on the Grand Line, many people are staring at you. I am the first one, but I am the last one. 1.5 billion heads, I won. Show laughed, and the pirate immediately shouted, "Little ones, go on." Yes. With the order of the pirate, dozens of pirates swarmed out. "Teacher. Do you want me to shoot?" Robin looked at the rushing pirate and asked Lin Wuya. "No need." Lin Wuya waved his hand. "Just leave it to you, brother Enel." After speaking, Lin Wuya turned and looked at Enel, who was still crying. "Enel. Stop crying there, someone wants to take my head." When these words fell, Enel, who was still crying, suddenly stopped crying. Immediately afterwards, his figure flashed directly and appeared in front of Lin Wuya. Even Robin was taken aback by the speed. What an amazing speed. Enel is like this. Although he is very afraid of Lin Wuya, if anyone wants to do something with Lin Wuya, then he will not hesitate to do it. "Do you want to take my teacher's head?" Enel looked at the pirate in the pirate ship parked right in front of the ship and asked coldly. Yes. The pirate nodded. Haha. Hearing this, Enel smiled coldly, and then he slowly said, "If this is the case, then you go to die." 60 million volts Thunder Dragon. Brush. Holding the golden stick, the 4-3 gold jade drums behind Enel lightly tapped one by one. ZZ. Thunder and lightning condense, and then directly form a huge thunder dragon. The face of the pirate, who was still proud of his face, changed drastically at this moment. What is this? Dragon formed by thunder and lightning. Dare to take my teacher's head, you really have a seed. Remember that the one who killed you is called Enel. Enel sneered, and the golden rod in his hand swept down. Boom. The thunder dragon that exuded amazing lightning directly whizzed down and slammed on the pirate ship. The pirates didn't even scream, they were directly bombarded into scum. The pirate ship was also bombarded. Brother Enel is amazing. Robin's shocked mouth couldn't close. One trick. Just one trick. Dozens of pirates and the pirate ship they were on instantly turned into nothingness. Brother Enel is too strong. One move to solve these pirates. Enel turned and looked at Lin Wuya. "Teacher, it's solved." "Yeah." Lin Wuya smiled faintly. Although Enel's personality is relatively slippery and stubborn, Lin Wuya is very satisfied with one thing. It's a nurse. As long as someone dares to attack him, then Enel will stand up. He also took Enel down the mountain because of this. With Enel in, he basically doesn't need to take action on this road. Kill. Looking at the empty sea level in front of him, Enel curled his lips uncomfortably. Cut. It's really boring. I thought the person who took the teacher's head was very strong, but it was solved with one move. It seems this Qinghai pirate. It's not too strong. For the group of pirates who came to take the teacher's head this time, Enel was still quite interested. But the result? One move. This is really no one can fight. Don't worry. There will be other pirates on the way to take the head of the teacher. You will definitely meet the pirate you are satisfied with. Lin Wuya smiled at Enel. Really? A flash of excitement flashed in Enel's eyes. Lin Wuya smiled and said, "Of course, the pirates in Qinghai are not as weak as you think. The group of pirates that appear before you are just small characters. The real pirates haven't appeared yet. There are many powerful pirates, even stronger than you." Hearing what Lin Wuya said, the interest in Enel's eyes couldn't help but become stronger. Are there any more powerful pirates? Enel licked his lips. It can be seen that he is excited. Speaking of the teacher, why did these pirates take your head? Is it the teacher that you once provoked them? After the excitement, Enel asked Lin Wuya. Although he has only been with the teacher on the mountain for 2 years, he knows the teacher's personality. Although he is not a good person, he is definitely not a villain. He is not interested in being a pirate and does not want to participate in this world dispute. It stands to reason that it is impossible to be picked up by others. Because of this, Lin Wuya threw a reward poster to Enel. Grabbing the reward poster, Enel glanced at it, and the next moment his eyes were suddenly startled. F*K. 1.5 billion Baileys, this is too amazing. Although Enel stayed on Sky Island, he still knew something about Qinghai, such as the reward offered by the pirates. Generally speaking, some pirates with a bit of strength have a bounty of about tens of millions of Baileys, and these pirates are basically in the first half of the Grand Line. In the second half, New World is a place where some of the more powerful pirates are active, and there are many pirates with rewards of hundreds of millions and billions Pele. However, the pirates who offer billions of bounty are basically rare. Even if Enel doesn't know much about New World, he also knows that there are absolutely very few pirates with a bounty of more than 1 billion Baileys, and it is estimated that there will be no more than 20. But the teacher, he is not a pirate and he has not done any harm to the world, and he was offered a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys by Marine. This is also terrifying. Teacher, how did you get 1.5 billion rewards from Marine? The shock in his heart drove Enel to ask Lin Wuya. Because the person protecting your junior sister and the world government made a fight, and then you were wanted. Lin Wuya said so. Because of this, Enel was stunned. Just because he had a fight with people from the world government, he was offered a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys. The teacher is too awesome. And the identity of the teacher is not a pirate. If this is a pirate, what will the bounty be reached? Enel was terrible thinking about it. That's why it's hard not to be targeted with a 1.5 billion bounty, and I'm just an 80-year-old bad old man as a teacher. It's hard to think about it. Lin Wuya was so emotional. When Enel heard Lin Wuya's words, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. The previous sentence was correct, and it was hard not to be targeted at 1.5 billion Baileys. But in the latter sentence, Enel is really powerless to complain. You are 80 years old, but don't use a bad old man to describe you. What a bad old man you are simply a monster. Don't you know that I am afraid of you, my disciple? Why? Do you have any comments about being a teacher? Lin Wuya noticed Enel's strange gaze, and his face immediately became cold. Enel waved his hand again and again. No, disciple, how dare I have any opinion on what you say, teacher? After speaking, he patted his chest and said, don't worry, teacher, you can stay on the boat with peace of mind along the way. As for those who come to take your head, leave it to my disciple. Okay, I'll leave it to you. Lin Wuya smiled and nodded, then walked to the side chair and lay down. As for Enel, he went to the bow and shouted, go. That posture is really in the middle. During the next journey, some pirate groups and bounty hunters continued to appear. Without exception, all of these people came for Lin Wuya. A bounty of 1.5 billion. These guys were almost red-eyed, and when they found Lin Wuya, they started directly. In their eyes, Lin Wuya is a fat sheep. And it's not an ordinary fat sheep, it's a big fat sheep. Faced with these pirates and bounty hunters who came to take their heads, Lin Wuya waved to Enel. The next scene can be imagined. These pirates and bounty hunters were all killed by Enel, and there was even no scum left behind. After sailing for a total of 30 nautical miles, the 12 waves that appeared to fetch Lin Wuya's head were all bombarded by Enel and turned into scum, and none of them were left. Although the scene was bloody, Lin Wuya was unmoved, not even a trace of sympathy. Since he chose to take his head, he had to accept the result of being slaughtered. A 1.5 billion head can't be taken off by anyone, even if he is just an 80-year-old old man, you have to weigh your own strength. Because of this, the route behind the ship is almost red on this road. These red ones are not dyes, but left by those who came to get Lin Wuya's head. It's all their blood. After annihilating a group of pirates, Lin Wuya's whereabouts may not have attracted attention, but a series of 12 waves of pirates have been killed in succession, and among these pirates there are still pirates with a bounty of up to 60 million Baileys. The pirates on the Grand Line also turned their attention here. All are sent to investigate the first half of the Grand Line. Somewhere in the sea. At this moment, on the sea level, a pirate ship is parked here. On the pirate ship, a pirate was looking at a ship 10 nautical miles away with a looking glass. Zoom in the focal length. When the face exactly like the one on the reward poster appeared in the field of vision, the pirate's pupils suddenly shrank. Sure enough, it is him. The old guy who was rewarded 1.5 billion Baileys by Marine, he appeared again after disappearing for half a year. Putting down the looking glass in his hand, the pirate drove the ship and quickly left here. And the information he brought back from this trip, it made the entire first half of the Grand Line boil over. On an unknown island, At the moment, a group of pirates is stationed here. Named Starscream Pirates. Captain Jace is a pirate with a bounty of 80 million Baileys. Thinking of the information he had obtained earlier, he was crazy. A 1.5 billion old guy. You finally showed up. The past 6 months have really made me look for. There was a curve of excitement at the corner of his mouth, and Jace stood up directly. Little ones. Let's go. The heads of 1.5 billion have appeared on the Grand Line again. The opportunity to become famous is here, roar. Hundreds of pirates cheered together, and their voices resounded throughout the island. More than this, the first half of the Grand Line. There are riots in many places. The reasons for the riots are the same. Lin Wuya. The old guy who was rewarded by Marine with 1.5 billion Baileys half a year ago has now appeared on the Grand Line again. 1.5 billion Baileys. What a terrifying reward this is. If you can get his head, you won't have to worry for the rest of your life. Why they are pirates, isn't it just for Roger's treasure? But now, with a head of 1.5 billion, the other party is still an 80-year-old man. They are still looking for Roger's treasure, and they all know that with their strength, not to mention finding the treasures left by Roger, even if it is difficult to enter the new world. Because all the big pirates haunt there, the bounty of over 100 million is weak. However, for them, the total bounty of the entire pirate group does not exceed 100 million Baileys. Naturally, for them, this 1.5 billion head is quite tempting to them. At least in their opinion, it is better than Roger. The treasure is 10 times easier, or even 100 times easier. Moreover, the owner of this bounty of up to 1.5 billion Baileys, the one named Lin Wuya, is still an 80-year-old old guy, which makes them crazy. Although many pirates died under his hands along the way, they didn't care at all. In their opinion, it was just those guys who were weak. In other words, they wouldn't miss it. Confident. Crazy. At this moment, the hearts of every pirate in the first half of the Grand Line are filled. And under this madness, these pirates are also dispatched one after another. The goal is the same, that is to take the head of Lin Wuya. Even some pirate groups began to cooperate with other pirate groups, discussing to share the reward after taking Lin Wuya's head. In short, because of the 80-year-old Lin Wuya, the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line are almost crazy. The degree of madness is no less than the frenzy that Roger started when he started the Great Pirate Era. Even stronger. And because of the crazy pirates in the first half of the Grand Line, the marine branches in various regions in the first half of the Grand Line are also crazy. It shouldn't be said to be crazy, it should be said that it is scared. Why did Naval Headquarters set up branches on the Grand Line? The purpose is to suppress the pirates on the Grand Line. Although this suppression did not have much effect, at least it maintained a balance. But now, this balance is directly broken. And the breakdown of the balance far exceeded their expectations. Seeing the many pirate groups swarming to the Grand Line, the generals of these branches are dumbfounded. They only saw this situation at one time. That was when the pirate king Gore D. Roger was executed decades ago, when the era of the great pirates began. That was the case at that time. Countless pirates swarmed and started heading towards the Grand Line. Quick. Connect to the headquarters. The pirates in the first half of the Grand Line are crazy. Speed? Connection headquarters. The first time, immediately. After seeing the pirates so crazy, the generals of these branches could not sit still. After returning to the branch, it was the first time to report the situation here to the headquarters. And it's not a branch. Almost all branch generals in the first half of the Grand Line are like this: contact the headquarters. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. In the Marshal's office, Sengoku stood there, listening to the reports from the various branches in the first half of the Grand Line. He was shocked. That's right, I was scared. The pirates who used to be little troubles on the Grand Line have all rioted. And it's not just one place. This situation has occurred in almost every branch under the jurisdiction of the area. Immediately, Sengoku directly initiated the Marine Supreme Emergency Meeting in the name of the Marshal. Including the predecessor Admiral Zephyr, Vice Admiral Garp, the current 3 Admiral Sakazuki, Paluzolino, Kuzan, Vice Admiral Crane, and the headquarters and other Vice Admiral. All were summoned in the conference room. What's going on? Sengoku, what happened? After Crane came to the meeting room, he was the first to ask. Others also cast curious glances. Having worked with Sengoku for so many years, it was the first time they saw Sengoku so panicked. Is this what happened? Standing on the main position, Sengoku said with a solemn face, I have received news from the generals in the first half of the Grand Line. The pirates in the first half of the Grand Line have all rioted, and it is not an area under the jurisdiction of a branch. It's a pirate in the jurisdiction of the branch. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of the Marine executives present suddenly changed. Although the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line are not strong, the average bounty is about 10 million Baileys, and there are even less than tens of millions of Baileys. The rewards are considered high, and the pirates with more than 100 million Baileys are even more important. Feathers are rare. It can be said that in terms of overall combat power, the first half of the Grand Line is less than the second half, which is the tip of the New World iceberg. But compared to New World in the second half of the Grand Line, there is a little difference in the first half, that is, the number of pirates is very large, even more than New World. Although they are not some powerful characters, if it is a collective riot, the impact can be imagined. Therefore, after learning from Sengoku that all the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line were riots, Garp, Zephyr, Marine Admiral Sakazuki, Paluzolino, Kuzan and Vice Admiral are all shocked. Immediately afterwards, Zephyr directly asked, "What's the matter? Wasn't the first half of the Grand Line always calm? Why suddenly all the pirates rioted?" Other people also cast curious eyes, wondering what is going on. Great. Why did the pirates suddenly rioted, and they rioted at the same time? This makes people think about the reason. Is there something that attracts them? But if there is, what will it be? I don't know this either. Sengoku shook his head solemnly. The generals stationed at the branch in the first half of the Grand Line did not say why these pirates rioted. But I think no matter what the reason, the impact of so many pirates rioting is undoubtedly disastrous, and the civilians who have no power to restrain the chicken will suffer. So I'm calling you here. I want to hear if there is any way you can solve this incident and let the pirates calm down. Vice Admiral Crane said, "Sengoku, I understand your feelings, but if you don't find out what the riots were caused by the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line, even if our headquarters sent troops in the past, it will not have much effect. Furthermore, even if the pirates are suppressed, you can guarantee that these pirates will not riot in the future. So in my opinion, the only way to quell the pirate riots is to find out the root cause of the pirate riots. Only in this way can we fundamentally solve this pirate riot." I have to say that Crane is Crane. Even at this time, she can stay calm and analyze a good solution. I think Crane is right. If we don't find out the root cause of the pirate riots, it will be useless for our headquarters to send troops there. Garp, who has never liked to participate in these things, also talked about it. But it is not easy to find out the source of the pirate riot. After all, we don't have eyeliner among the pirates. Sengoku frowned. Suru followed Sengoku's words. "We don't have our eyeliner among the pirates, but you can catch a pirate and ask. If you ask, you will know." Hearing what Suru said, Sengoku couldn't help but patted his head. Why didn't I expect this? Yes. They are not among the pirates' marine eyeliner, but can't you catch a few and ask? There are so many pirates on the Grand Line, and the pirates are not strong. It's not just a lot of catching. Picking up the phone worm, Sengoku connects to the general of a branch of the Grand Line. After a while, the call was connected. A man's voice came over there. "Marshal Sengoku, any instructions? Go catch a few pirates and ask why they rioted." Sengoku said to the phone, "Okay, I'll do it now." After hanging up the phone worm, Sengoku sat down. The branch is already working on it, so let's wait here. Grand Line. A marine branch. After a colonel hung up the phone, he left the office directly. "Come on," he yelled as soon as he left the office. "Step on." Dozens of Marines came to him. "Colonel Darth, what's the matter?" One of the Marines asked. "Follow me to catch a few pirates." Yes. With 10 Marines, Doss left the branch. The pirates of the Grand Line were still very easy to catch, and soon the 2 pirates were captured by Doss and returned to the branch. Standing in front of Darth, the 2 pirates shivered. "I ask you, why are you so crazy in an instant?" Darth looked at the 2 people directly and asked. The 2 pirates didn't even offer any rewards. Where they dared to conceal it, they explained it all at once. One of the pirates said, "It's Lin Wuya. The old gentleman who was offered 1.5 billion Baileys by your marine has disappeared for half a year and then appeared on the Grand Line. That's why we are so crazy." As if afraid that this pirate lied to him, Doss asked the other pirate, "Is what he said is true?" "Yes, it's true." The pirate nodded repeatedly. "A reward of 1.5 billion Baileys is offered, and the other party is just an 80-year-old man, so we all want to take his head." "I got it." Darth nodded and turned back to the office. At this moment, he was shocked to the extreme. The pirates of the Grand Line rioted because of the old gentleman who was offered a reward of 1.5 billion by their marine. Colonel Doss. I and we all told you, just let us go. One of the pirates prayed to Darth. Lock them up. After Doss said this, he opened the door and entered the office. As for the two pirates, they were imprisoned in the branch prison by several marines. When he came to the office, Doss picked up the phone worm to connect to the headquarters. Naval Headquarters, Marineford, Marshal's office. After waiting for more than half an hour, the branch finally called back. Picking up the phone worm, Sengoku asked, "Is it possible to find out the reason?" "I found it. Marshal Sengoku. According to the pirates caught, it was because the old gentleman who had been rewarded with 1.5 billion Baileys by our marine who disappeared in half a year appeared again. They wanted to take the old gentleman's head, so they were so crazy." Hearing what this branch general said, all the marine high levels in the entire conference room, including Marshal Sengoku, were stunned. It turned out to be because of that old gentleman. Silence. Deathly silence. At the moment, the faces of the many marine senior executives present are full of a deep shock. Even Pelusalino, one of the three admiral who has always been very lazy, can't help but be moved. In the first half of the Grand Line, the cause of the pirate riots with hundreds of thousands of them turned out to be that old gentleman. Is this him? It's a lie? Throughout the history of pirates, no one person caused such a large-scale pirate turmoil. It can't be said that there is no, the pirates who Roger was executed decades ago have been so crazy. But why is that? It was Roger who told the world that he left the treasure in Raftel when he was tortured, and that made the pirates so crazy to rush to the Grand Line. And this time, just because the old gentleman's 1.5 billion bounty has made the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line so crazy. And the degree of madness is no less than the time Roger started the era of the Great Pirate. This is too amazing. Even Sengoku himself did not expect that the reward he set for the old mister would set off such a big wave on the Grand Line. It's really unbelievable. Zephyr smacked his lips. With just a 1.5 billion bounty, there was such a big noise. If he heard it with his own ears, he would not believe it. I didn't expect it to be for this reason. Garp spoke up too. Even in the face of the Golden Lion coming to Malin Fodor that year, Garp was not too moved, but this time, he was shocked. It seems that we underestimated the allure of 1.5 billion bounty. He opened his mouth and said, "Think about it carefully. An 80-year-old man was offered a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys by our marine. Even the newspaper written by the Guy Morgans described the strength of the old gentleman very powerfully. I think there will still be many people who will take this risk and try it. After all, a head worth 1.5 billion Baileys, if you can win it, then you will have almost no worries in your life." Sengoku asked at the crane, "Do we need to lower that old gentleman's bounty?" Lowering the reward is almost never seen in the history of pirates. It has always only increased the reward of one person, but there has never been a lower reward. But this time, Sengoku wanted to do it. After all, the cause of this incident was because of the 1.5 billion Baileys bounty set by the old gentleman. If it can be lowered, it may alleviate the situation. Even those pirates who are silent because of this are very capable. No need. Crane shook his head. If a person's bounty is reduced for fear of affecting the outside world, the prestige of our marine will be affected to some extent. Furthermore, since we know that the pirate riots in the first half of the Grand Line were due to that old man, we don't have to worry about harming ordinary people anymore. After all, their target is the old gentleman, so the consequences of the riot are nothing more than two. That is, either the old gentleman was killed by the pirate, or the pirate was killed by the old gentleman. So no matter from that perspective, there is absolutely no need to lower the reward. Crane's analysis gave many senior executives a sigh of relief. Including Sengoku too. He sat down, the worry on his face disappeared. Indeed, Crane's analysis is correct. Since it was directed at that old gentleman's head, they don't need to worry at all. Although the pirate riots this time will not have much impact, I honestly didn't expect it, because that old gentleman actually made the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line crazy. After feeling relieved, Zephyr spoke. Yes. Garp laughed. Looking at the entire history of pirates, there is only one such example. Haha. The influence of the old gentleman is really great. Garp. You can still laugh? Sengoku glanced at Garp. He didn't say that it won't have much impact, so why can't he laugh? Haha. Sengoku's Byakugan, whom Garp didn't care about, became even more unscrupulous. Seeing Garp's laughter, he shook her head, and then she scanned the people in front of her again. Let's not talk about this problem. Tell me about this old gentleman. As soon as Crane said this, the many Marine executives who were present looked at her. As Marine's chief staff officer, Crane's strength may not be considered strong among the people present, but in this kind of high-level meeting, many people are still willing to listen to her words. He stroked his thoughts, and then said, since the old gentleman left Alabasta with Nico Robin half a year ago, there has been no news for half a year since then. Even if we did multiple investigations at Marine, we did not find the old gentleman. Trail. Where did he go and what did he do in the past 6 months? Aren't everyone here curious? When Crane said this, everyone fell silent. Then Zephyr opened his mouth and said, we really want to know where the old gentleman disappeared and what we did, but there is no way to investigate this kind of thing. Furthermore, you said Crane. Our Marine Army has not found the trace of the old man after investigating for half a year, let alone know what the old man did in the past 6 months of disappearance. Crane said, Zephyr, I understand what you said, but that old gentleman's identity is not ordinary after all. It has something to do with 2 of the 4 emperors, it has something to do with the Revolutionary Army, and it also involves many huge forces. So even if it is impossible to find out, we must check it. Perhaps if we know where the old gentleman has been and what he has done in the past 6 months, we can know why he is involved in so much power. Zephyr frowned, and then asked, then how are you going to check it? Crane. You don't need to worry about this, I'll check it out. After saying this, Crane got up and left the meeting room. After Crane left, Zephyr leaned back on the chair. I can't see Crane's thoughts more and more. Haha. If you can see through, Marine Chief Staff Officer is not Crane but you. Garp laughed. As for where Lin Wuya has been and what he has done in the past 6 months, many Marine executives here obviously don't know. But it is still known. For example, Smoker and Paper Garden participated in this meeting. As the only 2 disciples who witnessed the teacher's departure 6 months ago, they knew where the teacher had gone. Sky Island. In the past 6 months, the teacher has been on Sky Island. But knowing it does not mean that they will tell Suru this or the Marshal Sengoku in front of them. In their hearts, the status of the teacher is far higher than those of the Marine seniors in front of them. Smoker and Gion looked at each other meaningfully, and then both stood up. Marshal Sengoku. Gion and I left first. Smoker headed toward Sengoku Road, which was in the main position. Sengoku nodded. Smoker and Gion turned around to leave, but just after walking a few steps, Sengoku called them again. And many more. Smoker and Gion turned around. Smoker asked, is there anything else? Marshal Sengoku. I remember half a year ago that you 2 seemed to hunt down that old gentleman. Have you found the whereabouts of that old gentleman? Smoker shook his head and said, no. We chased the old gentleman in the direction where he left for 3 days and 3 nights, and we didn't find him. Is that so? Is there anything else? Marshal Sengoku, if not, Gion and I will leave first. After leaving the Marshal meeting room, Smoker and Gion returned to the office. Standing in the office, Gion said to Smoker, I didn't expect the teacher to stay on Sky Island for so long. Haha. It is estimated that the environment of Sky Island is better than the following, so the teacher is reluctant to leave for a while. Smoker laughed. But Smoker this time, so many pirates are staring at the teacher's head in the first half of the Grand Line, should we go there? Need not. Smoker shook his head. Leave aside the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line, even those guys from New World can't threaten the teacher. They go to encircle the teacher, they will only die. Ha. What you said too. Gion smiled. Indeed. How could it not be possible to solve the little pirates in the first half of the Grand Line with the strength of the teacher? She is too worried. Gion said. The angle of view switches to the first half of the Grand Line. At this moment, there is already a sea of people here. Looking around, pirate boats were rushing across the sea. Just by sweeping, the shadows of dozens of pirate ships were found. Without exception, these pirates were all directed at Lin Wuya. The 1.5 billion bounty made them almost blushing. The degree of madness is no less than the moment when Roger started the era of the Great Pirate decades ago. At this moment, on these pirate ships, each pirate leader holds a reward poster in his hand. This reward poster is exactly Lin Wuya's reward. In the middle is a photo of Lin Wuya, and below is a bounty composed of a series of numbers. 115 ahead. 8 zeros behind. A full 1.5 billion Baileys. 1.5 billion Baileys head. If this can be won, there will be no need to worry in this life. The corners of his mouth pulled a curve, and then these pirate leaders shouted one by one. Little ones. Speed? Up the progress. Don't let others take the lead, we must win the 1.5 billion heads. Roar. Countless pirates shouted loudly, and the voice resounded throughout the Grand Line. Not only this, but also in other sea areas in the first half of the Grand Line. For Lin Wuya's head, these pirates are completely crazy. In this scene, even the 4 emperors of New World would be stunned when they saw it. Besides, Lin Wuya, under these pirates' successors in the first half of the Grand Line, soon met with some pirates. And this time it was not a pirate group, but 5. The 5 pirate groups showed a double-teaming tendency to surround Lin Wuya's boat. Lying on the chair, Lin Wuya looked at the 5 pirate boats that surrounded his boat and couldn't help but shook his head. Tisk. I only encountered 12 waves of pirates after sailing for 30 nautical miles, and this time I encountered 5 pirate groups in a row. This guy is really crazy. Lin Wuya knew that after returning from Sky Island from this trip, there would be many pirates watching him. After all, he was offering a reward of 1.5 billion Baileys, and he was just an 80-year-old man. What he didn't expect was that there were so many people. In addition to the 12 waves of pirates encountered before, 17 waves of pirates were encountered along the way, and it has only been an hour since the departure of Sky Island. 17 waves of pirates appeared in an hour. And it's not a single pirate, but a group of pirates. This also made Lin Wuya slap his tongue for a while. All these guys are crazy. Lin Wuya. After disappearing for half a year, you finally appeared. Take it to death. Even if you cut your wings today, it's hard to fly. Your 1.5 billion head is ours. All around, the clamor of pirates continued, and everyone's eyes were full of madness. Lin Wuya got up from the chair and smiled at them. The ambition is good, and the courage is commendable, you just can't hold my head. One of the pirate leaders coldly snorted, huh. It's just an 80-year-old old guy, what can't be done? On the other pirate ship, a pirate leader opened his mouth and said, yes, an old thing about to go into the soil, you really think how capable you are, but you are only able to withstand 1.5 billion Baileys. But first also thank Marine for the 1.5 billion Baileys set for you, and for taking your head, we will have peace of mind for the rest of our lives. Take it to death. Old stuff. When the voice fell, the 5 pirate ships began to slowly move closer, and everyone's eyes were full of sickness and madness. 1.5 billion heads, it's theirs. It's a bunch of guys who are not afraid of death. Lin Wuya shook his head, then looked at Enel behind him. Enel, you can solve it. Yes, teacher. Enel nodded and jumped directly onto the ship's side. On the deck, Enel stood there, his narrow eyes sweeping around the 5 pirate boats. Enel comes from Sky Island, so the pirates on the Grand Line don't know Enel. Therefore, looking at Enel standing on the side of the ship, these pirates frowned. Who is this guy? I haven't seen it before, whoever he is. Anyway, we got the old guy's head this time. Let's go together. So many of us are still afraid that we won't be able to solve them. Step on. Hundreds of pirates swarmed, holding long knives and craziness in their eyes. Looking at the hundreds of pirates who rushed in, Enel smiled proudly. You guys want to take my teacher's head? Go down and accompany those guys together. Words fall. Powerful thunder and lightning broke out directly on Enel's body. Under the influence of that kind of thunder and lightning, the air faintly exudes a burning smell. What is this? Lightning. The pirates who rushed looked at the lightning that enveloped Enel, and their pupils shrank. Fear shrouded their hearts at this moment. They are all pirates on the Grand Line. When they saw the lightning, they knew that this naked man with a headscarf was demon fruit power. And it's Logia. From the Logia ability, and also exuding lightning, as this lightning demon fruit power. A pirate said in horror. The eyesight is good, it's a pity that it's too late to find out now. Enel grinned, and then suddenly raised his right hand, aiming at the pirates. God's verdict. 4 characters fall. Suddenly, a thick lightning beam shot out from Enel's hand. It looked like a ferocious beast, and it swallowed these pirates in an instant. These pirates disappeared into the sea without even screaming, and even the pirate ship with them disappeared. Really strong. Even if he had seen the power of Enel before, Robin was shocked by the scene at this moment. Kill hundreds of pirates in one move. Brother Enel is really strong. This kind of strength is almost comparable to Marine Admiral. The fact is that as Robin thought, the current strength of Enel is indeed comparable to that of Admiral. And all this is due to the 2 years of studying behind Lin Wuya. Although in those 2 years, Enel experienced a nightmare life. But in the same way, his strength has skyrocketed. Armed color high-end. Seeing and hearing the top level can even predict the future. Coupled with powerful physical skills. Pair it with Thunderfruit, which is called Logia's fastest. Created Enel that is now comparable to Marine Admiral. After the pirates were dealt with, Enel jumped off the ship's side. Teacher. When the pirate comes, call me again. After putting down these words, Enel lay on the deck alone and fell asleep. Go on. Robin. Lin Wuya, lying on the chair, said to Robin. Yes. Robin nodded, then started the boat and continued sailing. However, it didn't take long for a group of pirates to appear right in front of the ship. In response, Lin Wuya called Enel, and Enel woke up from his deep sleep. The next scene can be imagined. Like the pirates before, these pirates were all wiped out. The originally Scarlet Sea is rendered even more vivid. However, all this is just the beginning, and there are more pirates heading here. They didn't know how stupid they were in this trip, they still came to this one after another. Perhaps only when they were swallowed by lightning like those pirates before, would they realize that what awaits them is not a 1.5 billion head, but a Shinigami god who sent them to hell. The first half of the Grand Line, offshore area. There are many ships moored here at the moment. These ships are not pirate ships, but marine warships. Standing on it are the marine generals from each branch of the Grand Line. Although they had previously received information from the headquarters that these pirates in the riots should not be taken care of, they still wanted to take a look. In the face of the pirates who have reached hundreds of thousands or even millions in the first half of the Grand Line, how will this old gentleman deal with it? However, this look made their legs feel weak. More than one branch general is all branch generals. Looking at the pirate who was being destroyed one after another, all the branch generals had their mouths grown at this moment. My goodness. This is too scary. No matter how many pirates are faced, they can be solved with only one trick, but the ship with these pirates is solved together. Is this really something human can do? So far, they don't remember how many pirates died in the hands of the old gentleman, but the preliminary estimate is no less than 5,000. And this is only a short section of the first half of the Grand Line, not even 1/100th of the length of the first half of the Grand Line. If this is to complete the first half of the Grand Line, the number of pirates killed will reach a certain level. Think carefully. Just thinking about the backs of the generals of their branches felt a chill. It's terrible. I have to tell the head office about what's happening here. After leaving here, the generals of those branches gave feedback to the headquarters of what they had seen. The head of the department was also shocked after learning about it. How long did it take for no less than 5,000 pirates to be killed? My goodness. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. In the Marshal's office, the atmosphere was extremely quiet at the moment. The reason why it is so quiet is naturally the news that I have just received from the various branches in the first half of the Grand Line. This old gentleman is a bit scary. Garp, who has always been easygoing, was numbed by the news that he had just received from the branch at this moment. He has been in contact with Lin Wuya for some time, so he can see that Lin Wuya's character is more kind, especially when he gets along with Luffy, Ace, and Sabo. He is more like a kind grandfather. However, Garp never thought of Lin Wuya, who he thought was a good old man. It turned out such a terrifying scene. In just 2 hours, the old man actually killed no less than 5,000 pirates. This method is really a bit spicy.